Shite! Shite!
Right from start to finish.
Well, thanks for that introduction, Neil. I'm sure it sums up many a feeling in the Aberdeen support. Welcome back to another, well, hopefully not a depressing episode of Red Tinted Glasses. Callum, we're 2 days after the game. How do you feel just now?
I think I've just been upset since that goal went in from Dermis, basically. Not only just footballing purposes, just technical issues, everything. Nothing's going well. I'm ready to give up. As you may notice, if you're watching the video version, not using a proper camera anymore. I'm on my mum's iPad because it's not working. So I hope you're all buzzing for this one.
Yeah, no, things just keep going from bad to worse, but we're still managing to get the episode out to you audio and visually thanks to your mum's iPad. I suppose we should start where we normally start our episodes with the one-word summary. Shambolic probably sums up your preparation to the episode, but do you have a one word to summarize your feelings on Saturday's game?
Horrific. Just horrific. I don't think we need to add to it, to be honest. It's pretty self-explanatory. What about you? What have you got?
Well, I mean, if we don't add to it, we're not gonna have much of a show, but we will go into it. Mine is unforgivable, purely based on the performance alone. I didn't think we could kind of match Wednesday night's performance in terms of like our energy level, especially like second half of Wednesday. But yeah, McInnes played a top trump there, and we managed to be even worse and lacking creativity. I know I'm kind of only really speaking on the second half because daddy duties got me missing the first half. But as you said, there's no real point in coming back for the second half, and I should have just taken your advice.
Yeah, probably not a bad thing you missed the first half. Yeah, I definitely would have just stuck with Rory and see what he was up to instead.
Yeah,
much better.
I mean, the problem was I actually still managed to see the first 10 minutes. I did see the first goal. So, but we tweeted out off of our Twitter account at RTG_podcasts and asked you, the listeners, for your one word, and many of you got back in touch. Ewan Milne replied with clueless. Ryan Watson, shambolic. We had Shitebag from at Giles Graham. Big Duke was one of many who replied with predictable. I think that's a fair assessment. Callum, was kind of a sense of that?
I think they're all very fair. Predictable, yeah. If you sort of after Hamilton, you put it probably was just. I don't know why anyone thought anything would be any different. Yeah, fair. And, cut me for next weekend as well.
Yeah. Your own brother, he replied saying done. Jim Boyle had characterless. Jason Dyer, I know you're a few beverages in, so I'm surprised you managed to keep it just to the word poop. Very PC as well. Sean Neville had pathetic. Captain Dandy had gutless. Jonathan Main, regular listener to the show, had inevitable. Again, kind of similar along the lines. It did have that inevitability about it. Andrew McDonald had expected. There was another one word that I did quite like the look of, and I think is one we'll maybe touch on as we go through the show, was from at Craig E 1903, and it was the word apathy. I think as we've maybe seen on the back of that result, there's a bit of that feeling kind of creeping in, Callum.
I don't even know what that word means. So there's my my public education. Would you like to educate me? You fear God, and it's good work.
Basically it just means that the results kind of not really affected you. You're just like, well, we knew it was coming and just move on. It's kind of what we touched on in a previous episode about probably the disillusionment to kind of this current situation where we're just watching on TV, we're not there, and it's another defeat, just kind of that move on. It's as it comes. And
yeah, I feel like that's definitely the case because it's on the TV. You're sort of not feeling maybe it wasn't as toxic. Twitter was obviously not great, but put it this way, if it was compared to being a packed away end, as I'm sure it would have been on a Saturday evening, everyone would have been tanked up. I don't think it would have been very pretty, but because it's on TV, you're just sat at home and saying, oh well, turn it off, put it on, see what English game's on or whatever, and that's sort of it. You move on with it. I suppose the long bus journey home missing as well, that's probably a good thing, to be honest.
Yeah, although that did amuse me. Laura Tuch's tweet thanking Nicola Sturgeon for ensuring lockdown made sure no fans were there, well, especially Aberdeen fans, because I'm sure Saints fans would have thoroughly enjoyed their evening. And another response, it wasn't kept to one word because Chris Reid struggled to do that. He came with 2 words, sack McInnes. Suppose that's a talking point we could come to later in the show, Callum.
Derek McInnes, more like Derek McInnes, am I right? Yeah, can't argue with that. Didn't just stick to the rules, but I think we'll let him off for that one, to be fair.
Yeah, I think so. And it's provided a good talking point for later in the show, so thanks, Chris, for that. Right, where will we start then? I suppose we should look at the team news. Shea Logan was suspended. Ash Taylor was dropped. And as was Curtis Main from the midweek game against Hamilton. That saw Niall McGinn and the return of Johnny Hayes back to the starting 11. There was excitement. You even text me saying, I'm now excited for the game. That didn't last long, did it?
It lasted all 4 minutes, but yeah, I was quite happy to see Johnny Hayes back in. Thought we'll get Kennedy along to the right-hand side, a bit more balance, and maybe a bit more attacking threat. It didn't go that way, really. Unfortunately, I think maybe Hayes wasn't quite at full fitness. I think they did say, even commentary, saying they've rushed him back, which is quite telling once again for our boy Ronald Hernandez, that he would rather play a crocked Johnny Hayes than him. But that, along with Campbell in there again, and Lee actually at centre in like sort of the back 3 with Hayes at the left wing back, I thought maybe that's a bit more positive. Maybe Lee a bit more of a ball player than Ash Taylor could be a good sign. It didn't go very well. That all my hopes and dreams were just shattered after 4 minutes.
Yeah, well, I mean, they normally wait till about 4 or 5 minutes into the second half to completely ruin things. They just went nice and early on this occasion. I felt a bit sorry for Dean Campbell because he'd looked all right on Wednesday night by all means, but just a moment of hesitation just capitalised on by the St Mirren midfield, and we paid the ultimate price in obviously giving away the free kick, and then St Mirren rewarded by scoring straight from it.
Yeah, but it was frustrating, I think, because I think it was a bit of a sort of shoddy pass to him, but there was a bit of hesitation. He definitely could have got to the ball. As it is quite annoying, because he did do okay-ish on Wednesday. And never nice, obviously, a local loon, and they do tend to maybe get a bit of an easier ride, but I do think he could have done better with that. And then obviously the foul, it just all went downhill from there.
Yeah, and I think, Joe Lewis, well, we'll come to the mistake. Just an absolute shocking mistake from Joe Lewis. I don't care how many times we were praising him for saving us in the last episode, but that's just inexcusable. And I really think he won't be happy with his efforts in the first goal as well. I don't know if he takes a step to his right when the free kick's hit, but he certainly steps to the left and he just doesn't bother diving at all. I unfortunately watched it back again this morning after seeing people comment that it was terrible goal kicking. I thought, no, it was just a really good free kick. And about the 3rd or 4th time I watched it, I did start questioning myself whether or not Lewis could have actually put in a bit more effort into saving the shot.
We've watched it a lot more times. Put yourself through that pain than I have. I think I watched it when I went in, and I didn't even watch the replays. I have seen people complaining as well, and obviously not as bad as his later mistake, however. But we'll get on to that.
Yeah, and I think as well from obviously our captain, but someone that came out before the match and said, we need to respond from Wednesday's performance. We need to show the strength and depth, how good the squad really is. Once again, the pre-match press comments backfire spectacularly.
Yeah, I wish they would shut up. If they want to come on the show, fine by me. But other than that, keep your mouth shut, please.
Yeah, and as someone actually said to me on my personal Twitter page, they said, the club are doing great at providing excellent sound bites pre-match, get the fans in the mood. But they're perfect sound bites for biting us in the rear end come Saturday at the end of the game, because it's really not going to plan. So let's hope they keep quiet this week.
Oh, I do hope there's just radio silence from all of them, to be honest.
Unless Dave Cormack wants to pipe up, because I know he likes a radio appearance, but I suppose his appearances have more been getting fans back into the ground, although he might want to rethink that based on current performances.
Yeah, I did say, I think to my dad, I was like, well, he's complaining about fans not getting in. Obviously, people would used to think they could get in just now. But for Aberdeen's case, and certainly Mr. McInnes, it's maybe not a bad thing that there's not a couple thousand fans even in there. Get on his back, shall we say.
And I'm sure, well, we're recording this on Monday night, and rumours obviously that Aberdeen are destined for Tier 3. So, Dave, your plans are further hampered, and I'm sure your outburst hasn't helped matters. I'm not, obviously that's tongue in cheek, because we do want to get back to the football in some form. For me personally, I would just be going to the football on my own, not with my mates, given the household circumstance. Sitting on my own, wearing a mask, not being able to cheer and sing or boo, as probably more likely given our performances recently, doesn't really appeal to me just now. I don't know about yourself on that matter, Callum.
I think it would be, obviously it would never ever be the same, but it would just be nice, because obviously I could go with my dad and that would be quite good, even though it would be absolutely freezing. I say no singing, no booing, whatever. But would there be much singing at Pataudry anyway? That's another matter. I think it would just be nice to be able to get along and just get out of the house, you know. But yeah, I can't see it happening for foreseeable future. Brilliant. Can't wait for that. Tier 3. Here we come, baby.
As if things just couldn't get any worse. Well, I'm sure Derek McInnes has his plans in mind to make that on Saturday. But looking back at our cup exit, it was quite as I said, I haven't watched it, but based on your updates to me in the first 45, very uninspiring first half. And by all accounts, going by Twitter, we were lucky to be going in at 1-1, we probably should have been 3 or 4-0 down.
Yeah, should have been. We were lucky that it was only 1 for them, and then even the finish from McGinn was a bit fortunate as well in the game. The goal was a bit scrappy, but at that time, we'll take it. Let's be honest, which is a bit worrying when you're playing St Mirren. You're having to just say, "Oh, we'll take scrappy goals." No disrespect to St Mirren, they well deserved their win. As you said, could have easily been 3-4 up by then, and probably should have. And they're probably kicking themselves going in at half time 1-1. In fact, it was. But luckily for them, they held. They managed to pull through. Unluckily for us, let's be honest.
Yeah, and you made some comments to me about Sam Cosgrove, his performance, in particular in the first half. His performance didn't really improve, going by what you said and what I saw in the second half. But do you want to just elaborate for those tuning in your comments on Sam Cosgrove? Because I feel recently we've missed Marley Watkins.
Well, I think obviously it's hard for Cosgrove not getting the service in the penalty box. But when it's outside the penalty box, I'm worrying about. When he takes the ball in, I've just got no confidence that he's going to be able to link up the play, hold it up, hold off a defender and lay it off, or even get turned himself. I just always feel he's just waiting for that shove in the back to go down or something like that, which we saw in that game against Celtic, proved costly. And I just don't have the confidence that I would with Marley Watkins in terms of being able to bring others into play as Sam Cosgrove. I'm sure that will probably come. He's obviously still young, still learning and all that kind of thing. But it is very frustrating when you're looking, especially when you're against St Mirren of all teams and you're under the cosh and you can't even rely on him to sort of get you out of those situations and hold up the ball, hold up the play and get others involved with little attacking intent that we had.
Yeah, and I think for me, I noticed it against Hamilton and I noticed it against Rangers. And I know we've said in the last episode as well, the Rangers games may be slightly different, the time of the scoreline. But I just really find watching Cosgrove recently, he's lazy. And folk might disagree with me, but I think he's lazy in his defensive aspect. And I know, again, folk say, well, he's a striker, it's not his job. But when you watched Marley Watkins at the start of the season, when we lost the ball, he tracked back and did his defensive duties and tried to help the team as best we could. And that helped kind of alleviate some pressure on Scott Wright, Ryan Hedges. When they were in tight situations, they had an out ball. With Sam Cosgrove not tracking back as much, we're then having to play a long pass up to Cosgrove, whose close control recently has been terrible. Now, I'm not going to say mine's wonderful, but for a professional footballer, I would expect better, Sam. I'm going to say that. But I think it's frustrating in that sense, and I think that's why we're seeing a poor run of form, because we are almost resorting to long balls because we've got that gap between the midfield and the striker now, whereas before it was all intricate, neat. You could work I suppose it's the technical term for the pundits would be, you could work the triangles and pull the defence out of position, but we just don't have that just now.
The problem is, even if it is a long ball up to him and he say wins the flick on or anything like that, there's no one there in support of him, so it's pointless, and they just end up coming straight back at us again, and we can't even get up the park 10 yards, which seemed to be most of the first half, and it's just so frustrating to watch.
Yeah, and I suppose as well, this week we obviously got the news that Scott Wright was going to be out for 6 weeks. That's a huge blow in terms of Aberdeen's attacking threat, and we spoke in the last episode on the pressure that it put on Ryan Hedges and the problems it would cause if a team marked him out of a game. And I kind of felt Ryan Hedges was quite quiet on Saturday, and I think it has to be commended to St Mirren how well they doubled up on him and did a good job on keeping Hedges quiet.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he was quite at it, obviously, at the weekend, especially compared to how he was in the last couple of games. But yeah, that is probably credit to St Mirren, and it's quite telling the fact that you nullify him, there's nothing else, especially without Scott Wright, and that does show us how much we miss him. And for some of the slander he's got, I don't think it was quite deserved. But yeah, I think the sooner he's back, the better. But it will be quite a while down the line, and the fact that it's quite a long injury as well. I hope that doesn't damage his confidence any. And we see him come back as the same player. But yeah, the sooner he's back, the better. And I don't think even Niall McGinn coming in is quite as good as Scott Wright these days. So that's quite telling.
No, and obviously McGinn only managed the 45 minutes on Saturday as well, which I know he's coming back possibly from an injury, but it's not really helpful to a team which is struggling to create when you can't rely on creative players for more than 45 minutes. I don't know if you've heard or brought yourself to listen to Derek McInnes' post-match comments at all.
Nope, definitely not.
Good. So this will go down well. So he spoke about his halftime. Well, I should say we're going to speak about the halftime subs that he made. But McInnes' post-match interview, he made it abundantly clear that we struggled first half and he had to change at halftime and we had to go and match what St Mirren were doing. If, as someone who watched the first half in yourself, if the first half is going so badly to plan, surely as a manager you take responsibility and put your hands up and admit it's going wrong by making a change, even if it's in the 20th minute, the 30th minute. Make the change sooner rather than later. Why does he have to wait till halftime to make those changes?
That's one thing I'll never understand, how long he waits to make these changes. Okay, it would be fine if sort of they got their first goal half an hour onwards maybe, and then it's just, okay, we'll get in at half time, keep it to 1-0. But the fact is, it could have been 3 or 4 before then, before we even got our goal, let alone before we got in at half time. I don't know. I would have thought he would have made the change early. If you can see that especially if you can see that it's not working. If you think it's not going too badly, then fair enough. But he comes out and admits that you could see it wasn't working, yet didn't do anything about it. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah,
and I don't really like the sense that, okay, it's almost like it's 1-0, it's okay. If we were only 1-0 down at halftime, that's fine. We'll then change it. Stop St Mirren in their tracks. Be proactive, and then make Jim Goodwin think about something that we're doing. He's reluctant to regain the upper hand in these scenarios, and it's so frustrating. Why the fans can see it, but the manager waits to react. And his comment as well about there's the mistake from Joe Lewis. Yes, but where's the quality in our side? And why are we then matching up with St Mirren? I know it stopped their threat, but are we going to show some inventiveness to try and win the game ourselves, or was he just wanting extra time and penalties and hoping for the best?
In a way, I'm quite glad we didn't have to watch another half an hour of that. Maybe not a bad thing Joe decided to throw the ball into his own net. But yeah, I don't know. I don't get, the first half, and then the second half, we sort of did, okay, his changes did sort of work going into the second half a little bit for the first sort of 10, 15 minutes, but then it just sort of reverted to type, and then it didn't get any better from then on, and eventually they got their goal, which, okay, scrappy, big mistake, but still, you can't say it wasn't deserved. And they're right, deserved winners, definitely, 100%. We don't deserve to be in the half of the next round, which, looking by some of the teams that got knocked out, would have been nice to be in there, but no.
Yes, I know. It's not like us to miss out on opportunities when big teams go out, but thanks very much, Ross County, for making the weekend even worse, although I know the Ross County fans will definitely disagree on that. But I suppose on the substitutions, good to see Michael Devlin make it through 45 minutes without getting injured.
True, and I do think he did look quite good, actually, when he came on. He looked sort of comfortable, which you'd probably expect. But yeah, he looked fine. He got through it, which is the main thing. And it wouldn't surprise me if he started the following weekend. And I think he probably should, to be honest. Quite happy with him. And I think that probably does suggest that there probably was no such falling out, because otherwise I don't think he would have walled him on at half-time.
Yeah, and Curtis Main, the other substitute, relatively ineffective, do you feel, or
relatively ineffective, but also at the same time, no service. So same as Caldwell in the first half, I guess. You can moan at them all you like. If they're not getting any decent balls in the box or anything, then, only so much they can do.
Yeah, and to be fair, I can't remember Anik really having a decent save to make, other than I think it was a slice clearance from one of the Saints defenders that he maybe had to touch over for a corner. But yeah, nice quiet day for him, unlike Joe Lewis.
Exactly, and it's the Jamie Langfield coached goalkeeper that got away with good performance. He acted absolutely fine, but the Gordon Marshall coached goalkeeper not so much. And I just said that because I know it will annoy so many people.
Well, Joe Lewis went straight to the Jamie Langfield book of goalkeeping with his howler. The howler just sums up our fortunes recently.
It is typical. The one man, other than maybe Ryan Hedges, we thought we can rely on. Besides, he's got crisp paper packets for hands. And there's just sort of... The St Mirren player even said he turned away. He turned away when he hit the shot, thinking, oh, no problem, and gone in. It's just typical of our luck. But it saves us watching extra time, I suppose. That's the only thing I could say from it.
Ross Nicholson actually, he actually wanted to come on because he had so much to say on Saturday's defeat that I had to send him the script just to keep him happy that what was actually going to be discussed. So I hope he's happy so far. But Saturday's game was actually the first time St Mirren have scored 2 goals against Premiership opposition this season. The only other times they've managed to score 2 or more goals in a game this season was against Partick Thistle and Queen of the South.
See, that is so worrying when you discuss the calibre teams you just mentioned, and not only the fact that they scored 2 goals, they haven't for quite a while. We didn't even look like we were fortunate to get 1. That was the problem as well.
We were lucky the ball trampolined off Cosgrove into McGinn's path, and even then, it was a good finish from Niall, but St Mirren might feel aggrieved they didn't keep the ball out of the net.
Exactly. It's just, absolutely none of it is good enough. But I am at the stage right now, I'm just like, I can't even be bothered to get myself worked up about it now. It's just apathy.
This is the apathy you're learning. Yes.
It's just, exactly, educational. Who says it's not educational? Exactly. It's just, we're going to go into the weekend game. If we don't smash them out of the park, I can't see that we will, but we'd have to for any sort of doubters to be silenced. And hopefully, with the guys coming back in, we might. But even still, not 100% confident now because it is Aberdeen we're speaking about.
Yeah, I suppose, our fans were pretty boisterous on their opinions on the manager's position. Not as boisterous as the Celtic fans, I have to say, after going out of the cup. But, I suppose we don't have the self-entitlement that they do after winning all these trophies. It's not like we've just won the one trophy recently.
Yeah, but at the same time, if it works for them, then if it gets the message across, I suppose, then fair enough. Fair enough.
And I suppose it takes us back to the point Chris Reid couldn't contain his word to 1. He went for 2. Sack McInnes. Do we question the manager now? I think there's got to be, given that the level of performance that we've put in Wednesday, Saturday, I'm still not buying the missing players as an excuse. Premier Sports, I think, was it Stephen Craigan was on co-coms, was maybe trying to blame fatigue. But again, I'm not buying that with how much McInnes prides himself on having a fit team. I know we've had 3 games inside the week, but come on, like, we just didn't look like creating at all in the second half. Even when we went to match up St Mirren, it was just so bad.
I think definitely questions have got to be asked now. When you look at that result, the Hamilton result, not only the results, the performances as well against Rangers, didn't even lay a finger on them, and then the semi-final against Celtic as well. When you look at how bad they are, really, let's be honest, this is the biggest chance we had to have a go at them, and then we could have got little championship hearts in the final, but not to be. Typical. It's typical of us. I don't know. I don't know what will take questions to be asked, possibly by the board. Maybe a poor result again on at the weekend. But even then, who knows? It's like he's just got tenure at Aberdeen Football Club and he's never going. He'll leave on his terms. It's like Joachim Löw at the Germany national team. He'll just leave when he wants.
Is it fair to say he's probably got the safest job in Scottish football?
100%.
Or the top flight anyway?
100%. Yeah, I would say so. Also, when you look at sort of Gary Holt, he had the cojones to walk when he realised, he's not the man for the job anymore. He did that, and that probably shows he cares more about Livingston than anything else as well. So that's not happened here. And I saw someone say on Twitter as well, probably suggested he doesn't care about the club. The fact he went for an interview at one of our biggest rival. So there we are.
I think I saw that tweet, and I wish every happy clapper, McInnes supporter sees that tweet, because I'm not going to sit for people that will come back and say, what, McInnes is the best manager since, and someone actually said it's actually since Craig Brown, not Mark McGee. He has done so much for this club. If he had done so much for this club, he would have won more than one trophy for this club. And it wouldn't have been in the most boring game of football, but I suppose a trophy in the cabinet is better than none. We should have won more, and we've been saying it for years that McInnes has hit a glass ceiling. Semi-finals aren't, if they're a board target, good for him on meeting them, but fans want to get to finals, fans want to win finals. 3rd place in the league, again, it's not a trophy. I know you've got a small trophy for it, but we want to be challenging for the league. And, it still irks me that time under when Celtic were had Ronnie Dyla in charge, biggest chance in our history to win the league. And yeah, fair play to Gary Holt. He saw he'd taken Livingston as far as he could, steps aside and wants someone else to come in. Derek, do you have the same? Because let's be honest, I think it's fair to say he's taken us as far as he can. I don't see what else he could do. He's had Scottish Cup finals, and again, here we go, he came up against Celtic, budgets, blah, blah, blah. Annan have beaten Hamilton, Stranraer have beaten Hamilton. There's been Ross County, obviously, as you touched on there, beating Celtic. Don't remember their budgets being as big as their respective clubs. So again, get that excuse out.
Well, you say, speak about budgets. Okay, Celtic have obviously got a miles bigger budget than us. Yeah, fair enough. But look at our budget compared to Hamilton's.
Yeah.
The comparison would be mental. I'd love to know that. But yeah, the only saving grace would be if he can come out. Well, it's not saving grace at all. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's just not. But the only way to bounce back from it is to absolutely smash St Mirren in the league. But I'll get excited for it, and they'll probably tune in, and then it won't happen. It won't happen. We always get our hopes up. It's not going to happen. And we're saying this about St Mirren. No disrespect to St Mirren. They deservedly won. But we should be. Look at our budget compared to them if we're going to battle on about budgets.
Yeah, and it really is frustrating. But again, going back to his comments, if he can't motivate a bunch of players, whether it be our fringe players, we had Johnny Hayes back, it's so concerning that, we'll just blame players being injured. So we just have to accept being shite whilst we have players injured. Like, that's not good enough. And I'm sorry, but, the contract extension that we gave him a few years ago, it's proving to probably be the only reason why he's still in a job, because it's probably more expensive to pay him off. And if also the rumours are to be believed, which I believe are to be true, that he obviously got the Sunderland wage matched. No wonder he's just sitting pretty in his job, tanning himself at every opportunity.
Sunderland have sacked their manager as well, by the way. So if they want to come back in, be my guest.
Yeah, no, well, maybe, he might fancy a wee Netflix series.
Exactly. He would love that. That would inflate his ego, I think.
Not like his own ego needs inflated anymore.
Exactly. I think he would love that. You can ask Jack Ross all about that. That'll be lovely, wouldn't
it? Yeah. So anyway, although the other one I suppose we should just touch on, just for fairness. People say, if McInnes was to go, who would you replace him with? And if someone suggests John Hughes, I will rip whatever remaining hair out I have left.
Not much. I've seen Paolo Di Canio, which I think would be it would be entertaining. It probably wouldn't be great. It would be all out guns blazing attack football, and just seeing him on the touchline, that would be more entertaining than the football anyway.
He wouldn't stand for mediocre draws against Haaland.
You're very true. I'd love to just hear some of the stories.
And also claim it's a good performance.
Exactly. But some people have also said the Cowley brothers, maybe. They're out of a job, obviously. They did very well at Lincoln. I think they took them from Vanarama National League to League One, but then didn't go so well at Huddersfield. So, why not? Why not fancy a trip up north? We've got a lovely beach and all that good stuff. Why not? Other than that, honestly, I think we're struggling. People had mentioned Jack Ross. I think that would probably just be a bit sideways. And I don't think he would be smart enough. I don't think he would leave Hibs for us, would you? Would you really? Probably not.
No, and I think also Jack Ross's recent results, he's gotten draws against Old Firm at home, but outside of that, not really amazing.
Even McInnes has got the better of him, so.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just searching because I was having this discussion with Keith, and he actually put an interesting name forward. Currently out of a job, Paul Cook, former Wigan manager, it was a name that he put through. Known for his attacking football, he obviously behind the cup upset, Wigan putting out Man City, and finds himself out of a job through no fault of his own, given Wigan's financial problems. He also put forward Paul Clement, the former Derby manager. Again, maybe a bit out of our price range. The one that I just can't believe he even mentioned was Gareth Ainsworth, the Wycombe manager, because unless Cormac's really feeling adventurous and's got money to burn, I don't see him leaving a job at Wycombe. But we'll see. But there are names out there. The Cowley brothers are certainly a name that excites. I've seen folk mention, with the Atlanta connection, Stephen Glass, obviously, who's the Atlanta 2 manager. Or will we take, I've seen a few suggestions of just giving it to Barry Robson and Paul Shearer until the end of the season.
Barry Robson end of the season.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Just that would be sort of probably as close to Paolo Di Canio we'd actually ever get. I think him on the touchline would be quality stuff. Just absolutely raging, just elbows on subs benches and opposition and everything. That'd be quality. I'd love that.
But I mean, there are people that are out there that could do the job for Aberdeen. There are people out there that could produce attacking football for Aberdeen on a regular basis, not just when our striker's out injured. So we'll see. But I suppose we should have offered some form of balance on the opinion, because we can't just say that we want him out. Or we're wanting change and can't put any names forward. So that's some of the names that was being suggested recently.
Could always get back Mark McGee.
I don't think things are getting that desperate.
Moving swiftly on.
We're back to league action on Saturday. It's another trip back to Paisley.
Do we have to? Honestly, could you imagine being there in real life?
not in real life. This is real life, but actually having to go there after, like, say you doubled up, you'd gone, okay, supporters club, we'll book both St Mirren games. Could you imagine having to go down there next weekend? That would be so bad. There's not much going on anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, terrible. Not looking forward to it, to say the least.
Is it bad that Gemma's actually booked a trip to Santa's Grotto in Turriff for 2:45 next Saturday, and she asked if I wanted to go, and I reluctantly said yes, because it means I don't need to watch the game.
I think that's fair enough. The problem is you're probably just going to have to watch the highlights, put yourself through the highlights after. So it's probably, and that's with knowing the result, and knowing the fact we've just bottled a game and lost 2-0 again. So that'll be good.
Yeah, though I do say that though, but who knows if that'll still be allowed to go ahead if we end up in Tier 3. So I might be subjected to another McInnes masterclass in Paisley.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. I suppose one thing we do have to look forward to is the return of the COVID-3. Lewis Ferguson, I believe, will be allowed to return to training on Tuesday, but Ross McCrory and Conor McLennan not until Thursday. So obviously that's due to the 14 days isolation for being a close contact. So with that in mind, McCrory and McLennan probably only have one training session in them before the weekend's game. I still fully expect them to return to the starting 11.
Throw them in. Who cares? Throw them in. All of them. Yeah. Campbell, Ojo. Who else would take it out? Could be any of the rest.
Well, Ferguson, I would assume, would also return to the starting lineup as well. But I kind of feel it's like a sinking ship, and we're just bailing out water in hope to try and keep us alive just now. And our biggest bail just now is these three players coming back to our starting 11.
I would like Conor McLennan to be at right wing back as well. Get Matty Kennedy away from there, please. Even if he goes further forward, actually, probably wouldn't be a bad thing. Just a bit of creative spark, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't. That's it's actually a good suggestion, because his delivery leaves something to be desired, as you like to point out all the time. But he's got some pace, and if we can get back to the style of football that we had pre-Cosgrove coming back into the team, where we kept it on the deck and we took the game to the opposition, it could work for us. And McGinn, if he can't play more than 45 minutes, why not just push Kennedy forward? And then you've got McLennan sitting in behind. Both of them are defensively sound, and McLennan's more than capable of a good ball into the box, and we know his attacking possibility as well. So why not?
Exactly. Got nothing to lose, do we? Let's be honest.
No.
I don't think it could be any worse.
No.
So why not give it a go?
And in terms of the centre of defence, would you be happy to see Ash Taylor remain on the bench?
Yes, I would quite like to see Mikey Devlin come in, to be honest. I'd be quite happy if Lee maybe dropped to the bench as well and put... Well, actually, I don't know who's been worse between him and Considine, to be honest. Since he played for Scotland, I don't know what's happened to him. But yeah, I would like to see Devlin probably come in, to be honest, because he looked quite assured, he looked okay, he looked quite good on the ball, which is not like him, let's be honest. So why not throw him in there? Again, this is literally my philosophy. What have we got to lose? It can't get worse. Try something. Ronald Fernandez, you want to play? Calvin Ramsey? Anyone else? Oh, throw them all in.
Yeah, and then I suppose up top we're really still left with not much in terms of choices, something we discussed before. And I suppose we saw again in the second half, Main and Cosgrove. I know you touch on the service, but there's nothing there in terms of a partnership to get us excited that we're going to start seeing goals again.
Nope. There isn't anything, to be fair.
Nice and blunt.
Just leave it there. Nope. But no, I think maybe with better service it would be a bit more promising. But at the same time, even like, as you say, like sort of pressing, working together in a press, or anything like that, there is no real signs of a partnership, which is quite worrying. Honestly, just so fed up of all of it.
And I think to put a more worrying slant on it, we struggled to break down a sound St Mirren defence on Saturday, who will further be strengthened by the return of Joe Shaughnessy on Saturday.
I know. So he, I wonder what the odds are for him any time in St Mirren to win. Let's be honest. We couldn't break them down without him, and now he's going to come back in, and that's just quite concerning for me, to be honest. Especially at set pieces, God above.
Yeah, set piece is not something we exactly look threatening from. So them just adding further height to their teams, not exactly great.
Nope, either for us defending them or attacking them. So, which we're not good at either of them. So
No,
brilliant.
And hopefully there's no howlers from the keeper this weekend, but hopefully we can keep the St Mirren forwards and midfielders a bit quieter than last week.
I hope so. I think they might even have Ethan Rahan, I don't know how you say it, back in. He obviously scored against us at Tawdry. But hopefully with Ferguson and McCrory in there, providing they do both come back in, we'll be looking a lot more solid in the middle of the park. And if we don't, then just cancel the whole season. There's no point anymore, is there?
Stop the count.
Exactly. Listen to Donald.
Yeah, I mean, this podcast is just going to get worse and worse if these defeats just keep coming. But hey, you're tuning in your numbers, and from a personal point of view, in terms of the podcast, both myself and Callum do appreciate those of you that tune in and interact with the Twitter page and comment and like the video on YouTube. And thank you to those of you that have been watching on YouTube and have subscribed this week. We're slowly getting towards 100 subscribers, Callum.
We're creeping. I think we could get there. We'll take this time to encourage anyone watching, or even if you're not watching and you don't intend on watching, but you have a YouTube account and you're listening instead, why not fire over and just hit that big red button? And, it helps us out, even for 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I was going to say I suppose end of the month and the end of the year.
Well, by the time it goes out, the end of the month will be the end of the year, yeah. So
Exactly.
Time flies when you're
Christmas present.
Yeah, time flies when you're having a terrible time supporting Aberdeen.
Exactly. What more could you want? That'll put smiles on our faces. There we go. That's what you should do. There we go.
Yeah, it should. And obviously, we'll continue to ask for your interaction on the Twitter page at @RTG_podcasts. It's fun to hear everyone else's one-word opinion post-match, especially on the back of terrible results, but hopefully a positive result to look forward to this weekend based on purely nothing, going by recent performances. So Callum, what would be your one word ahead of the weekend?
Oh God, I'll do Catherine Tate. Bothered, face bothered, so on. You'll all get it. I didn't need to explain it. Yeah, it's bothered. I'm all put in brackets, can't be, and before it. What about you?
Yeah, kind of. I might actually just steal the word from earlier and just put apathy, because along the same lines, to be honest, it's another 90 minutes and I don't really know what to expect. I hope it's better than what we've had to sit through the last week. 3 terrible performances and consequently 3 terrible results. And I think, December's a busy month, not just for us in terms of having to do episodes of the podcast, but a busy month for the players. And, there's teams behind us who previously we probably dismissed, but they're, building runs, and, the gap could close if we continue this poor run of form. So, we've got to try and address that as soon as possible.
Well, here's hoping. As I said, yeah, very, very busy month. The problem is when you get sort of hit a bad run of form, and it's a busy month, and the games just keep coming, and you think, when is this ever going to end? But if we can, hopefully, come back with a win on Saturday, that'll maybe put us on a chance to get a good run of form and improve things, and we'll all be delighted come January.
Yeah, and the players will be so delighted that they don't, well, actually, probably not, because they don't even have their trip to Dubai to look forward to this year.
It might actually be a good thing for us, to be fair. Sometimes we've come back looking absolutely terrible, so we'll see what happens now.
Well, here's hoping. Bad things normally come in 3. I think it's fair to say it's been 3 bad results, so hopefully we'll be back next week with a bit of positivity for everybody, Callum.
We can't but hope. I'm sure people are probably getting fed up of hearing us drear on and just about. I've been absolutely so negative, but at the same time, I think we're just echoing the thoughts of most others. So,
Yeah, and there's nothing better than getting riled up about Derek McInnes and Aberdeen on a Monday night. But good once again to get it off the chest, and hopefully a bit therapeutic for those of you that are tuning in now that you've had a few days to calm down before tuning into the latest episode.
Yep, fingers crossed. And here's just hoping the next one we're a bit more positive, just for everyone's sake.
That should probably be our word to Derek McInnes. Positive. Be positive.
Exactly. Look at our school. We're just like life coaches these days.
Yeah, get us in at half, get us in before the game, and get us to drill some inspiration in the players, because it's clearly not coming from the man in charge.
Yeah, once again, just can't get any worse. But I keep saying that, but we could be, as I said, and the next one could just be. If we lose again, just cancel everything. Podcast get cancelled. I'm deleting my YouTube. Everything's done. Just cancel all football.
Well, hopefully your webcam is back up and running before the next episode, or you might have to cancel your YouTube.
Everything will be cancelled. I've got one video left. That's a good point. Bring it on YouTube. If you want to subscribe there as well, thanks very much. And Callum, right? But yeah, I'm going to probably try fix that after this and cry and complain to you even more on WhatsApp. So bet you're looking forward to that. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, until next week.